Okay, so Anjali, I am so beyond delighted. I've been kind of tripping over with joy since about 5 p.m. today and saying, why am I feeling so happy? And it's because inviting you to our Shakti dialogue and to have this conversation with the Shakti Fellowship 2020 is kind of coming full circle for me. You and I have known each other since many, many years. I think a defining time was 1998 when, of course, we had met in Singapore a few years before that. And you were an expat wife, and so was I, and we were both also working. Um, and then you moved back to India to start Kaaru, Art for Everyday Living. And I saw you just bloom and take off, and this was like, what's happening? This woman, Anjali, my friend, is suddenly revealing herself to be such an incredibly inspired being. You started revealing yourself as almost from another planet. And I
Wow.
felt the great honor to be witness to that. And around this time, you had moved to Delhi. I came to Delhi on some work, and you had acquired all these incredible Tibetan thankas, which is Tibetan spiritual art. And I knew nothing about spirituality. Okay, I was a good corporate woman riding the wave, climbing the ladder. I was into none of this consciousness work. And you said to me, Nilima, there are these wonderful works of art that have come from Tibet. Why don't you buy one? This was your way of, supporting the Tibetan artist. Uh, I don't know if you knew that my life would turn completely upside down once that tanka came into my life. Uh, my life broke down. It broke so completely down. I encountered incredible sudden failure. All my strategies that used to work so well no longer worked anymore. I thought I'm going to be sacked. Um, and my mother said to me, "Did you bring something Buddha-like or some spill object into your life?" I said, "How do you know that?" "Yes, I did. I just bought this Tibetan tanka." She said, throw it away, give it away." and, and then I called Anjali and I said, "What do I do?" And she says, "No, these are very spiritual objects. You don't throw them away." So I would take it off the wall, I would put it in the cupboard, and I'd go to work. And then I'd have a good day, like a normal day. And then I'd come back and say, "Don't be so superstitious." And I'd put it back on its wall, and I'd go to work and have an awful day. And so it went on. This was April 1998 until thankfully Vijay got transferred to London and I had to leave my job and not get fired. I could say bye bye and go. But what started as a result is such a deep existential crisis of identity. Think, who is Nilima? What is success? Why is her sense of self dependent on what others think of her? Who does she really think she is? What does she think of herself? Questions of who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And so began the journey into yoga and Vedanta once we moved to London, and I never looked back after that. So one of the search part of the search in the UK, in London, was if I'm no longer a full-time PR corporate woman, who am I going to be? And what is my next level purpose? And again, Anjali steps in as this incredible teacher, mentor. She is in many ways my first guru. Um, and my hair is standing as I say that. I just love her so much. And she said, "We've started Kaaru," and I said, "Okay, let's bring it internationally. Let's launch it in London, give it the international platform it deserves." So I spent a good year of my life completely getting ground down. Uh, I was part of this incredible entrepreneurial social enterprise journey, which kind of makes you die every single day because nothing is easy. And and the day it finished, um, is literally within weeks that Vijay got diagnosed with colon cancer. And life went in yet another loop from there. So, Anjali, I think it all begins with Anjali in my life.
Blame it on Anjalee.
So, should we go out now?
So I am so happy to have you here, Anjali. Anjalee Wakankar is the co-founder of an organization called Kaaru, and they do what's called art for everyday living. I shared her bio, and her journey she describes began in 1998 with Kaaru. And so I know, I hope you've all read her bio that I shared. But Anjali, let's just dive right in. I'm going to start with these two questions for you, since our entire webinar is on congruence and finding your purpose. And if I scan my mind to who are the most congruent, purpose-led women I have um, ever met, you are right there. Okay, I mean, I've seen you literally, you know, burn through for your purpose. So the question is, when did you know working with artisans was your life purpose? How did that inner knowing come about? And the reason I'm asking you this, Anjali, is because these are all change makers, the Shakti Fellows. They're all in search of their truer, higher next purpose, and they're creating projects that are ways to manifest that purpose in the world, much like you have done with Kaaru. So, and we all begin with inner transformation work. So, I want you to reply at that level.
First of all, thank you very much. I feel very much at home being with every one of you. And Nilima, you've been far too magnanimous in welcoming me. And I'm really grateful. And you've always been a beautiful friend on my journey. And somebody I've cherished. Coming to your question, am I allowed to give a longish, journey-ish answer? Or
Yes,
because
yes.
what you've asked
Go with the
me,
flow.
yeah. So you see, I started my career in fashion, and it was this cutthroat business, profit, uh, 4 seasons a year, which I believe have become 6 now, and high speed. You're making in one country, selling in the New Yorks, having these road shows. So there was no time to think, and no time to. You just had a job. You just had to design. You just had to make. Of course, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. And one day I remember that I was working with an international designer from New York, and I asked her, I said, Marianne, where were you before? She said, with Christine Dior. I said, you quit Dior to come into, Macy's fashion world? And so she said, yeah, I didn't know who those people were who were wearing my clothes. And I said, really? And I said, you were as high end and as hotty totty as it gets. And I just let it go. I thought she was crazy. It was stupid of her. And a couple of years later, I was standing in an immigration queue in Zimbabwe, and the lady in front of me took off her jacket, and I immediately screamed, hey, that's my t-shirt, because I remember making these labels, new labels, beautifully designed, but not inside, outside. And so she turned around and said, hey, no, that's my t-shirt. I said, no, I didn't mean it that way. So, I that day realized what the connect is with when you make something which is real, which is for some normal, everyday person. But even then, it kind of just let me go with that. And then I came back. We were living in Nepal. And I just, 4.5 years, I worked in Nepal and set up this factory. My joy came from my workers. That everybody else's factory conditions were not so good, and I wanted to give the best to my people, things like that. So it was not always the design and the business and the turnover that excited me. It was always who was getting the end result. Was it beautiful that what they got, and so on and so forth. But even that didn't satisfy me. And my husband moved to Cambodia, and I said, no, thank you, I'm not coming. It's just still Pol Pot is alive. It's still, bullets and guns everywhere. Plus, there is rampant malaria. I have a 3-year-old. I'm not coming. But the restlessness got the better of me. And one day I just decided that I am going. I don't want to get into the journey of that going. But when I reached there, there was this beautiful old, French house next to ours, which was a shop for an NGO. And every day I would go there because I didn't like the house we were in because it was all concrete, and I love this old house. And the shop had these beautiful textiles and baskets and all. And every day I would turn them around, do something, tie a scarf, do something, turn the basket around. And one day this lady comes and taps me on my shoulder. My boss wants to talk to you. So I said, oh my God, what have I been doing? So I went and I said, yeah. So I was introduced to Sukoamu Lipie, who apparently, she's currently, I think, the Minister for Women's Welfare in Cambodia. And her own journey was amazing. She was the Deputy Prime Minister's daughter then, and parents were killed by Pol Pot. She was evacuated and adopted by American parents. And when things got normal, she came back. So this is this amazing, amazing woman I didn't know who I was talking to it. So she said, hi Anjalee, hi, I'm Sukoamu Lipe, I run Khemara. And I said, okay, hi, I'm Anjalee. She says, my people say you come and touch things every day. So I said, look, I'm really sorry. It's, she says, no, but they think that you have magical fingers because whatever you touch is sold. So I said, really? I said, no, I'm from the design world. What I see is something beautiful, buried under. I just pull it out and put it together nicely. So, and presentation is what is lacking in the store. And, not everything is high quality. So whatever I feel is better and will, appeal to. So she said, why don't you come and work with us? I said, sorry. I've been working 20 hours a day. I've come here. I've heard this place gets the best manicures, and it was a French colony. I'm going to eat and do nothing. And NGOs, my God, I don't even know the word NGO. Okay, it scares me. I think because I've seen enough of them in Nepal. So she said, no, okay, just come to our factory, our village, just walk around with us, this, that. I said, no way, I'm not coming. And as luck would have it, their office was just opposite my husband's factory, his office, which was about 15 kilometers out of town. And anyway, I went there and she started, okay, come to this project, come see this, we do silver. And everything was in too tiny a scale, too dilapidated, too sad. People had their stories from bombing, killing fields. And like you were talking about the wounds, there were wounds all around me, but I just couldn't connect with these wounds in the sense that I said, it has happened. Now what? Now you're alive, be grateful for that. Now you have 2 hands, grateful for that. Now you have 1 hand, be grateful for that. And somehow she said, okay, just come, try it out. And before I knew, I had 14 projects and I was in every village doing whatever I knew, whatever I could. And, so from training them with skills, from training them in business, from training them to sell, it just kept coming and I kept, doing things. But it was just a flow. I was not questioning it. I was not feeling any great intellectually stimulated by any such activity or holier than the Pope that, oh my God, I'm helping anybody. Nothing, no emotion of that kind. Till one day I was leaving, it was a hot afternoon, and I saw this family of, 3 children, husband, wife, coming my way from the gate. And I recognized them. I remember they came from a village which was about 15 kilometers from the office village. And when they came, they were carrying a basket of flowers with some fruit in it. And it was just a very pretty sight, sun streaming, hot afternoon, and this lovely family, 1 child here, 2 clinging to the father's finger and 1 to the mother's finger, and mother holding this basket. And my colleague says that, they're coming to you. So I said, really? They come to meet me? I said, but I can go to the village. Why did they have to spend money or the energy in this heat to come to me? So when I came closer, they just presented me the basket. And I just took it, like okay, somebody is giving you something. So I also bent and bowed and received it. But they went on saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm wondering that I'm the one who's supposed to say thank you for receiving this gift, not you saying a thank you to me. And why I'm sharing this is because this was the turning moment for me. And then my colleague says that they just said that they're thanking you because for the last 1 month, they've had all 3 meals, and they've not only had fish, they've had vegetables, and they could also eat fruit. So I said, what's it got to do with me? I never gave them any money or anything. They said, no, you're the one. They're saying that the way madam taught us to make the baskets, we made them that way. The way she taught us to sell them, we sold them that way. And we got enough money to sustain ourselves. And I said, I don't know how to weave a basket. They're the ones who know how to weave a basket, you know. So what are they thanking me? It still won't register with me. But what happened that moment, you know, that one moment was that I realized that, my God, my old world of fashion, where we talk design, where we talked art, this ism, that ism, you know, did you go to Louvre or not? Did you go to Montmartre or not? Did you see this or not? Means nothing. If one design can give people food, if they can give them dignity, if it can give them hope, and if, you know, the whole family can be nurtured from just by designing and teaching what I know, what little I know, I don't know nothing, then imagine the empowerment that exists within each one of us. So that kind of changed my whole world of what to do with a skill. You know, whatever you're empowered with. Sometimes I just say that, you know, we're each born with at least one skill with which we can nurture the world around me. I am a natural hugger, you know. So in Cambodia, where they wouldn't hug, I had this habit of just going and hugging. So actually they were scared of people physically touching them. But so, you know, these things, they just start, and you learn and you learn, but I can't tell you, Nilima, that moment for me has become my reference point. So even today, if my work doesn't give me that satisfaction, I am not happy with it. We've had exhibitions in Japan, London, which people have said, wow, wow, wow. But I always go home and I said that, did somebody get that same satisfaction that the person in Cambodia got or not? And if the answer is no, I'm very unhappy with whatever I've done. So yeah, that was the first moment. Then when we moved to Singapore, one thing I know, I used to tell each one of them in the group was that this is your country, this is your craft, this is your business. You need to be the boss. You have to learn to leave me. And, you know, it's like a mother who says that, you know, I've given you birth, but now go on. So that empowerment was very important. And if I hadn't done that, I don't think I would have broken away so easily. Cut to, we come to Singapore. I tried to organize a festival of Cambodia so that these people would get that whole dignity, you know, presence. And I don't know if you remember, there was a lecture by this Susan Kelly, the famous writer on silk weaves. And I went to attend her lecture in the museum, and I was wearing a shirt woven by an old woman in Cambodia. And she said, oh, this is such lovely Thai silk you're wearing. I said, no, this is not Thai, this is Cambodian. She says, no, I'm the authority. I have worked in these areas. I know this, I know that. And I just stood there. First, I thought I'll tell her that there's a story behind it. There was an 80-year-old woman who refused to, you know, weave something. So I wore a really bad quality product. And I said, this is from my country. And this is, oh, you know, that this is really good. And finally, she broke the ice and she says, no, this is not good. And she started, you know, they were scared of telling anybody that they have a skill, because in Pol Pot's regime, they killed craftspeople, they killed intellectuals. So they were scared to tell anybody that they knew anything. So to have somebody like that revive her own skill set, believe in her own self, and trust you to start weaving again, and you're wearing a shirt like that which somebody says is not from Cambodia, but from Thailand, you have no words to say. So I went home, I opened the main door, and believe you, I just sat on that chair, and it was dark at night, and my husband came and switched on the lights. There was nobody else in the house. And he said, what happened? I said, nothing. He said, why are you sitting in the dark? I said, when did it get dark? and because it hit me that a nation had lost its identity during war and other people could claim it. So how important it is, not just for an individual, but also a nation to have that identity. So to think that what makes an Indian, what makes a French more French, why? What is it about architecture, art, craft, traditions? That diversity is so beautiful, and that needs to be sustained. And that's when I made the prayer that I would like to go back to India, because we are a nation of crafts, and what is it that I can do? So these are these multiple incidents and stories that make me, I hope that wasn't too long.
It was fabulous. Anjali, you're someone I can just listen to all day long. And but it brings me to the perfect place that I want to share with these women. So I just knew Anjali had gone back to India and she's now doing something, right? So again, it was my work that brought me to Delhi, and Anjali said, we are having our exhibition of our work. It's been commissioned by the Ministry of Textiles, a very famous, IAS officer had asked for this work to be done. And she said, literally in a matter of 2 months or something crazy, like unbelievable short period of time, Anjali and her partner Sanjeev had gone into the states of India to the most threatened craft arts and brought them out, provided the kind of design collaboration with them to sustain the environment, sustain the craft art, both its authenticity and its narratives, and in a way that would get them economic sustenance as well. So this is why, I walked into that Pragati Maidan exhibition, and I walked into this open stall, which was full of wood and stone and hand painted things. And it was a visceral experience. I stood inside the Kaaru artisanal design work. It was beautifully laid out all around me. And I burst into tears. And I didn't know why I am crying. There was something so real, the soul of every artisan, and Anjali and Sanjeev and their vision and their soul and their love was coming through every piece of wood, every piece of stone. I can't describe. It was a spiritual experience. And I was just overwhelmed, and I cried. And then, of course, when we moved to London, I said, let's bring this work to the international stage. So at the Nehru Center, which is the Indian High Commission in London, we organized like a 7-day launch, an international launch of Kaaru's work. And I know they have a website, but here are some of those early pieces that I wanted to share with you. All kinds of stunning stuff. Do you see it? Right? So again, this is called Fables in Color. This is a medicine chest, little drawers painted with, the way they combine different craft arts, different media materials, and each piece is like a signature piece and has a story to tell. Small painted boxes. Every single piece is handcrafted here. Look at that metal work, completely drawing from the symbols and the mythologies of these artisanal communities, keeping their language tradition alive through their craft. Floor lamp. Is this a Jangar Singh Sham, Anjali?
Yes. Late Jangar Singh Sham.
Yes. All these artisans have incredibly powerful stories. And here is someone who was considered such a prodigy, and then he committed suicide because
No,
of...
he didn't. We don't know.
Anyway,
He was in Japan.
So very, very, it's like the stuff is made out of blood. I mean, that's all I can think of, blood and tears and soul and sweat. This console table was published in one of the newspapers, and then
Financial Times.
Sorry, Financial Times. And this person who just saw the picture, obviously a very rich man, just gave us a call and just agreed to the price with no negotiation and had it delivered to him. It's a bar cabinet. This is all reclaimed timber from timber yards, which otherwise would be burned as firewood.
Oh, they're used as scaffoldings.
Yeah. Oh, this is one of my favorites. This is a screen with hand-cut paper. Yes, Anji?
No problem.
There is a story to this. Now, this is Sanji paper cutting. It's a very ancient tradition. I think goes back some, 400 years. And Anjali and Sanjeev found the master artisan in like a trade fair, cutting Mickey Mouses.
You remember that story, yeah?
Yeah, cutting Mickey Mouses, because he said this is what people will buy now. They do not understand our craft, our tradition.
I'll just add, he said that when women come to shop, they have little kids and they don't look at our work because we're sitting on the floor. But a child gets immediately attracted to a Mickey Mouse, and they then pull their mother to see the Mickey Mouse. In the bargain, they also get to see the other things, and that's how we make a sale. So imagine people get so smart with marketing.
Yeah.
These artists don't know Mickey Mouse from Adam.
Yeah. Look at the exquisiteness of that. That's a piece of paper cut with one pair of scissors.
Very tiny, very rudimentary, nothing, not Friskers or any great branded scissor. It's just something they make themselves.
And actually the origin of this work is to create stencils for decorating temple walls. These are all Krishna devotees. They are priests in the Krishna temples of the birthplace of Krishna in Mathura. And this is a screen which I have in my home. That's a Krishna in a kadam tree. Then they did work with bamboo and coils.
The women in a small village who don't know any other skill but to work with coir. And this coir business was getting really redundant and they weren't getting any sales. So we asked them to make these little tiles so that, we would then fashion any other product with them. So we did a whole series of products just to give them work.
This is metal work, serving bowls.
Made in bell metal. You have a lot of our old collection, which we don't
have.
We're
not making anymore because you've moved on to do some wonderful other stuff. But I still think, this is the stuff that made me cry because it just exudes healing energy. There are people who buy one Kaaru product and they place it in their home and then they come back and describe how it radiates a force that heals. There's magic. These are all medicine pieces, posters. Everything has a story of where it comes from which ancient craft of India.
This is a project that we did when one of our ancient temples celebrated 2000 years in 2001, I think, and Khajuraho temples. And we took special permission from the Archaeological Survey of India to allow the artisans to sit inside the temple complex, to use the motifs and then create products with us, which is something that actually they are never allowed. But we managed that, and each motif and the artworks were done by us, and then done by the sculpted by the artist. So each poster is a hand sculpted piece.
This is one of your beauties and favorite pieces, I remember.
Fruit bowl.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop there. And so, Anji, in a nutshell, I know I've used these words many times and I know they're in your bio, but how is Kaaru a social enterprise and what is it, an antidote for?
Okay. So, one, as I said, coming back to the journey where there were these artisans in villages all around. I had met them in Cambodia, Thailand, Philippines, Indochina. And then when I decided to come back to India, I had learned one very big lesson, which actually happened because of Singapore, where we were, really in the thick of the urban, the modern, I don't know, my vocabulary is, but it's like saying that how do you make the craftsperson a part of contemporary living? So by making $1, $2 pieces and writing that, in fact, even in Cambodia, I told my NGO that one thing is there, I will never allow to write made by the landmine victims of blah, 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 or the handicapped people. No. And I told my people that you got to make the product that people want to buy and, pay you for what you have done. So only then you will get the dignity and pride of your own craft, your own art. So don't fall into this trap of sympathy. And sometimes I've actually thrown these pieces in front of in the artist because it was bad quality. Because I would cry at home, but there I would put up this very brave. So front. So the whole thing was that unless you brought craft into mainstream architecture, into mainstream everyday life of the urban user, these would just be the second cousins, or something that was okay, pretty, and I went and I bought a souvenir from some country. So that was the whole thing. And when we came back to India, I started talking to architects that would you come and join me? And there's the hierarchies were amazing. That no, I'm an architect, I don't do crafts. I'm an artist, I don't do crafts. I'm a designer, I don't do crafts. So what is a craft? It is everything. It's all encompassing. So I actually couldn't get anybody. I actually went and enrolled in a school myself to do interior design. And it is at a project that I met Sanjeev. Now, when I met him, I told him that we need to do something, because I truly believe that unless we make it connect with the urban, unless we break these bridges between contemporary and traditional, urban, village, we need to design that product. And this product has to have that uniqueness of its roots from where it belongs. And yet it has to be universal, that will fit into any lifestyle anywhere in the world. It has no nationality after that. It has an identity, but not nationality. So that, when I looked at India, it was over 600 crafts this nation has, and over 10 million people work in this sector. And I'm not talking textiles here, okay? Textile is a whole new world. And what I felt was, wherever I went, there was marginalization. They were poor, getting poorer. I was shocked that, you just saw that beautiful stone bowl. That master craftsman who has worked with French sculptors was laying floors because there was no work for him. His product wouldn't sell. And there were stories like that. People, and we were losing craft after craft. We are a population of 1+ billion people. And Sanji had only 12 hands. Just 12 people knew how to do that work. So it was a matter of time that craft would have disappeared too. I mean, there were already so many had disappeared. So these were the factors that, that I felt that we could come up. And for me, one thing that I learned was the difference between being an enterprise and being a business. I felt that business was so profit oriented, whereas what you needed was the heart of an entrepreneur. I was always motivated by the Tatas, for example, Jamshedji Tata's story, that they wanted to build India. They wanted to see a new India. And therefore, you just had to think sustainability profit as sustainability. That if you can't sustain the artist through profit, through their work, through their earning, then you were not, then you could, that would only happen if you did it for yourself also. So as an organization, you had to be strong as a business. And that's why I chose the path of a business and not an NGO. And for me, it was very important that no free dose, nobody gave me money to start, to say, okay, this is a donation, this is, given to a fund. So if we are teaching people to stand on their own feet, we better know how to stand on our own. So the social side of it is that Kaaru is a collaboration. One of the things that you've known this, that in Kaaru we never say designed by Anjalee, Sanjeev, X, Y, Z. No, it's a Kaaru product, which means it must speak of the collaboration. A stone sculptor is incapable of converting it into a fruit bowl. Okay, the top form, the fitting, the engineering, these are very, very small products that you have shown. If you see our current work, which is on the website, these are mega pieces. The same artist who did the fruit bowl, or the coasters rather, Sriram Bhaiya, he went on to carve a 40 by 20 feet wall for a corporate office for us. So the scaling had to be gentle, the training had to be together, and we had to forget profit, because if you are designing something new, if you're breaking grounds, you cannot follow the conventional methods of, shareholder satisfaction, business, and money. You have to take that risk. And for me, that is something which very few people in my business have invested in or trusted. I just have the flow in me that go on, it'll happen, go on, it'll happen. So what, you have bread at home, you get a square meal, be happy. Just give everything you've got. And I've never had to ask myself, it just happens naturally. So I don't know whether I answered your question, but yes, that's how.
So I realized I wanted them to hear this incredible passion. That people say to me, from another planet, I think you're from another galaxy. But we have just 5 minutes to go. I wanted to also talk about the incredible death and resurrection you have to go through as a really on fire, inspired change maker and entrepreneur. And so I said, you have had tremendous challenges, both health-wise and professionally, in keeping Kaaru, that is your life purpose, going. Almost as if life and purpose became antithetical to each other. Okay, I know you've battled a stroke for 10 years. So how have you found a way to resolve health and purpose?
I have to say this to you. One day my doctor said that, Anjali, why do you want to, every day, everything, when I could start writing, I was just making Kaaru business plans and Kaaru future plans and Kaaru. And he asked me, he said, I don't think you can go back to work. And I said, I never worked, doctor. So he said, why? I said, because I don't know anything else. This is all I think of, I dream of, the first opportunity. It's just my beat. And I realized that now, yes, I have a few handicaps and my strength is not what it would be. And I've lost 10 precious years of when the momentum was really at its high. And when I could have lived my true dream, like, when I started, I had this little placard in my little temple in my room in my office, which said, if 500 artisans could get 5,000 rupees a month, I would have lived my purpose, which today's terms would maybe be 50,000 bucks or whatever. But that was my motivation, and that hasn't changed. The numbers may have changed, and somebody asked me that, oh, so just 500. I said, no, these are 500 families. And to give them 5,000 rupees means, look at the turnover we are talking for Kaaru. So the kind of business turnover you need is very high. Now, coming to what you are saying, Nilima, what I have learned is that the true purpose of your life is to be happy. And happiness is your guiding force. So now if that happiness comes from doing something that you so strongly not even believe, it just pulls you, you know, you have no say in the matter. And what I realized is that whether I do it or somebody else does it, it doesn't matter. One has started a process. Today when I see craft awards, you know, Architecture Digest is doing these new things, it's become a trend. I'm very happy. And I find my productivity increasing because now people come and ask me, and I have in these, because I eat, drink, sleep this thing, and I connect with the problems and the, you know, the absolute micro level things. I have methodologies that people can take and, you know, build upon. And this amazing trust that I have that the world moves on, you know, you'll be given what you're supposed to do. In our Punjabi book, the Granth Sahib, there's a thing called Hukum. And we were doing this massive project for the Sikh Museum in Anandpur Sahib. And I went to the Golden Temple to seek blessings. And I met an old man, and he said, learn to listen to the Hukum. And that's all you have to do. And you will be told what has to be done. So you're constantly aligning yourself, you know, you're constantly reinventing yourself. But the person that you are from the beginning only gets better if you keep yourself going with what you really believe in, coming from inside. And for me, this comes so naturally, you know, I can't tell you how. And I just pray to God that whatever little I have, skill, hands, brain, money, friends, resources, just give this synergy and let the world be more beautiful. And you know, before we part, I want to say that I call it art for everyday living, because this is a small way of bringing art into everybody's life, because life is an art. So, you know, why should that coaster be just a block of wood? Why can't it be inlaid with something more from the forest, like a leaf and so on?
Beautiful, beautiful. Anjalee, I must say I had planned to be time for questions, but we have run out of time. You know,
I'm so sorry I took so long to answer your questions.
no, but it's just so beautiful to hear you speak, and I'm sure we have many tears in the room. It's just profoundly touching. I'm sure you beautiful women have experienced Anjali's being and soul, as you know, with every word she spoke, and she's had her own transmission going on here. So sometimes I guess it's not about words, it's about just the satsang, the sharing of truth. And so on that note, I love you, Anjalee. I love you so much.
I love you all. Thank you so much for bearing with me and listening to my little journey. And I see beautiful faces that give me the energy to speak. And, you know, it's just, you know me, I'm always just me, nothing else. I couldn't even practice a line before this. Lovely. Thank you so much.
And I know I'll share your email ID with the group, and if they wish to reach out and ask any further questions, and if you have the time and energy, please.
Pleasure, absolute joy. Yeah. Love you all.
All right.
And stay safe, stay healthy. May all of you be through this crisis that we are all facing with our prayers and the goodness of heart.
Thank you, Anjalee.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, wonderful ladies. On that note.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.